Okay, let's do the bodice back. First thing we want to do is we're going to be draping from center back over to this side. Okay, so we're going to put our 1 inch margin down here. All right, so let's go ahead and do that first. And then I'll show you what our cross grain is going to be. Wait, I better get this marked right. Okay. Okay, our cross grain in the front was the bust point, but in the back, we're gonna use our horizontal balance line. Do you guys remember doing the horizontal balance line? What do you guys remember about that? Exactly, so that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna measure from the very back, center back at the neck, go down to the waist, and I've got about 17 1/4. So what is 17 1/4 divided by 4? Well, let me see. Sometimes I use my little tape measure to help me. Okay, that's 8 5/8. What's that in half? I have got 4 3/8. Does that sound right? Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna measure down 4 3/8, okay, and you are going to mark it. Now your dress forms probably have this line already marked, okay? And the thing is, this is the line that we use because when we do our grit, when we put it on, we start with this area that we fit more. Like in the front, we fit the bust more, and in the back, we kind of go for the shoulder blade. That's what we're gonna use. Now, what I want you guys to check to measure your dress form, go down 1/4 of the way and check to make sure that this line is correct and where it should be, all right? Now, it's really hard because this dress form is curved. It's very difficult to determine if this is straight by measuring it from the floor or wherever you're gonna measure. So what we do is we get a piece of paper, get a nice straight piece of paper, and if you put it along center back, right here, bring it up to that mark, and then follow the page across. Then you'll be able to get your straight line. Basically, you're looking to get a perpendicular line to center back, but since it's really hard to measure that, if you will use just a piece of paper, you'll get a nice line. Okay, and mine looks pretty good, so I'm gonna go with it, okay? So check yours before you use it. Okay, so then the next thing we're gonna do is we're going to look for how far down I should put that line, because I can't go halfway down like we did the bust. The bust point is more in the middle. So to get the longest length, you're gonna go to the corner of the shoulder the neck, where the neck and the shoulder meet, right here, and go down, and I've got like 5 1/4. So if I add a couple inches to that, that'd be about 7 1/4. So I'm gonna go about, let me see. I think I'll go 8 inches down, okay? So I'm just gonna mark 8 inches here. And then I'm gonna draw a perpendicular line to center back, okay? This is my center back here.
So you just said 8 inches because that was like from the neck to the shoulder?
Yeah, plus about 3, I added about 3 inches or so as well. So I have some extra coming around. All right, so that should do it. Okay, now, the next thing you're gonna do, because in the front we went from center front to bust point, and then we put in a guideline. Right now, we're gonna go from center back to the ridge, okay? So measure to the edge of that ridge. Okay, and so the ridge is like right here. So that's like 7 and it's about 7 1/8. But I'm gonna add just a little bit of ease right through here. We typically get a little bit of ease here, but not too much, because if we have too much, it just kind of hangs there. So I'm gonna add another 1/8, okay? So you could do an 1/8, 3/16, something like that. So I had, what did I say 7 1/8? So I'm gonna do 7 1/4, okay? So I'm gonna mark the edge of that. So I'm gonna go 7 1/4, and I'm gonna put a mark there, okay? And that is telling me that's the ridge with a tiny little bit of ease. Okay, the next thing is I wanna do a line like this, because the line here helped me figure out how big the dart was and helped me to balance it. So if I do one here, that will help me as well. So if I do a line about here, how far in should I go? If I go in about 1 inch, 1 1/4, that should help me. So I'm going to go 1 1/4 inch here. I'm gonna mark that, and then I'm gonna do a guideline there, okay?
1 1/4 forward, center, back.
Yes, yep. Okay, and I'm just gonna measure that, so that's like 6 inches. So here's 6 inches here, and now I can draw a guideline here. Okay, it's a little bit, well, my pen gets kind of fat, so it's off a bit, but I did it straight from center back, so that's better. Okay, so that's what we need to get started with.